What is up, guys? I am Frosty Osty, and today we've got another MSF character that is being released on MSF. Miss Kate Bishop. We're gonna talk about her, get into stuff. As a reminder, Kate Bishop, definitely part of Hawkeye. Debatably, the Kate Bishop show over Hawkeye. Spoiler alert, right? I'm gonna try not to do too big of spoilers, namely talking about the comics, but just so that we're aware, there is a chance that something may come out of my mouth that has to do with Hawkeye. Just be aware of it. Here we go. So, for those of you who don't know, Kate Bishop is the protege of Hawkeye. She was introduced in Young Avengers #1. They kind of just threw her in. They sort of just threw her in. They were like, oh, with Young Avengers #1, they're like, hey, here's 5 people, super fast backstory, nothing else. Here they are, right? So her first appearance was in fact in Young Avengers #1. So she's 2005, so still pretty young. And her actual name is Catherine. Fun fact. Powers and abilities. So I got a big thing about this. So martial arts and archery. I'm going to say something at the end of this that might be controversial or might have a point of contention with some people. So she has literally no powers, right? So I'm going to say this very specifically. She has no powers. So that's important before anyone rips me apart later. She is highly efficient in martial arts. She's a big... She's a highly thank you, Rolf. She's highly efficient in martial arts, highly efficient in archery, and she's a high class athlete as a teenage girl, right? She also grows up in certain storylines and stuff, but yes, she is she's just a girl, like the No Doubt song, right? She's just a girl. So Hawkeye actually sort of has a superpower. So Hawkeye is actually... So you have to go back and look at this, because some of the feats Kate has done are impressive, but Hawkeye actually is all around better, is more efficient, is more of a superhero than Kate Bishop. He's more accurate. He has something called peak eyesight. So he literally... It's kind of like how Daredevil has enhanced sonar hearing. Hawkeye literally has better eyesight than humans, right? So he actually has advantages over Kate Bishop in a superpower sense. Not that his sense is not increased to the extent that this song is just throwing me off so bad. I'm definitely gonna swap it. It's not increased to the sense of like Daredevil, but it is a superhuman, right? So it is above that. So keep in mind, Hawkeye actually is more of a superhero than Kate Bishop. There is a difference, right? Hawkeye does have advantages over regular people, whereas Kate is literally a regular person doing the regular person grind. All right, aliases. Famously, she was Hawkeye, Hawkette, Hawkingbird, etc. Ultimately, if it says Hawk and it's not Clinton Barton, it's probably Kate Bishop, right? She's got a whole bunch of names and they're all sorts of Hawk, right? So she actually was originally created to replace Clint Barton as Hawkeye, and I'm gonna go into more detail about that later. But that legitimately was her intention of being created. Affiliations. So she has a few affiliations that I don't have listed here, but most notably are the Young, New, Secret, and West Coast Adventures. The gauntlet has been thrown. Hello, YouTube. So she's also part of she's the Clint Barton agency. She's part of the New York City Deadpool task force, where they send them out to try to stop Deadpool from being Deadpool. But namely Young Avengers is sort of her call. Background, she's a rich Manhattanite, everybody knows that. Distant father and dead mother. So it didn't talk about her mother in the Marvel Strike Force release, and her father was he's rich, he's shady. She looked up to him as a hero, and then things happened I'll talk about on the next page. But yes, so technically in this situation, her mother dies and her father is distant, right? Her father is the one away, right? So keep that in mind. For those of you who have seen Hawkeye, think about that. Cool. Hawkeye. So, I'm going to go ahead and break into her father then. So, tracking her father led her to discover his criminal doings as he left. So she followed him to a meeting of his, and so he was shady. He was dealing with different mafias and stuff like that. I think he deals with the Masters of Evil a little bit. Yeah. So as he left, she was captured by a villain named El Matador, and he was like, "Oh wow, I've got this rich dude's daughter. I'm gonna hold her for ransom." And then an arrow comes, distracts her. She gets away, and the Avengers show up to save the day. She sees Hawkeye, who shot the arrow, becomes idolized with him. But that is not what pushes her to become a superhero, oddly enough. She does idolize Hawkeye. She sees him as a hero, as a mentor, as somebody to aspire to, but that is not the full thing, right? What actually pushed her to train herself and stuff like that, it alluded to it, but not in such a specific way. She had a traumatic event in Central Park. She was sexually assaulted in Central Park, which led her to want to learn how to do martial arts and stuff like that. So she used this sense of trauma or whatever to push past her past issues, her past grief, and become the badass chick that she is. So that plus her mother was known as being like this very giving kind of philanthropist type. She would go around. She worked in soup kitchens all the time, trying to help people. So that plus her love of Hawkeye, plus her traumatic incident, pushed her to try to like have this want to be a superhero and train to be a superhero. So that's actually where that comes from. Relationships. Derek Bishop, that is her criminal father. Yeah, so he does dealings with the West Coast Masters of Evil. So obviously that's who the West Coast Avengers deal with. They have to be West Coast. They can't just be the Masters of Evil. Eleanor Bishop, her deceased mother. So her deceased mother, I keep putting in quotes as you can see. Susan Bishop is her sister. Her sister ends up taking over the mantle for her dad, but her sister's kind of just a regular person for the most part. Hawkeye, mentor. Notably and like awesome enough that it seems like in the comics they never have like a sexual relationship. They're never romantically involved. I think in the Ultimate universe they do, but I'm talking 616, the one that matters the most. But in 616, it legitimately is a father-daughter relationship. It's a relationship built out of respect. They affect each other a lot. They play off each other a lot, so it's really important. Eli Bradley, that is the grandson of Elijah Bradley. He's a teammate in the Young Avengers. Him and Kate kind of lead the Young Avengers. And there's a potential romance. There's a lot of chemistry. There's a lot of stuff, but it's never actually directly like addressed as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen it in the comics, so that's really important. So, deceased mother, right? It's comic books, so mom's not deceased, of course. Mom comes back. She actually saves Kate Bishop in a fight. Well, I think it was with the Masters of Evil. She shows up, and so a lot of this has to do with Madame Mask, and you can look her up. She's kind of Kate Bishop's like rival or whatever. But so her dad working evil stuff turns out working with Madame Mask, and then her mom shows up, saves her. She's like, "How are you alive, Mom?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know." And as she starts like hanging out and kind of meeting, getting back to knowing her mom, she finds out her mom's working with Madame Mask, and her mom's a freaking vampire. So I put Morbius, right? Her mom is a vampire. That's how she's still alive. That's how she's living or whatever. Does that give Kate Bishop some sort of connection to Morbius, who's theorized to come out with this same group of characters? Maybe, but ultimately, yes, Kate Bishop's mom is a vampire, right? And so what they were trying to do is they're trying to steal Eli Bradley. I wanted to bring him up. So his name's Patriot. They try to steal him because they think that if the vampires drink the blood with the super soldier serum in them, because Eli Bradley, like Elijah Bradley, is Isaiah Bradley. He's a super soldier like Captain America, but with like a different serum. So the vampires think if they drink that blood, they can become daywalkers like Blade, right? Blade. So anyway, so yes, her mother is part of that with Madame Mask. Notable events. Captain America declaring her Hawkeye. So I put Kree as a note to myself. So Hawkeye is presumed dead after an invasion from the Kree, and actually when it was being written, he was not intended to come back. He was very much a side character, and people didn't really care for him. So they declared him dead, and that's when the first Young Avengers came out, and they brought in Kate Bishop to kind of be that new Hawkeye, right? They never intended for him to actually come back until actually Avengers came out and Clint Barton was in the MCU. Then they had to bring him back in the comics. But to our advantage, because there's a lot of really good material and stuff with him and Kate Bishop or whatever. So, fantastic. Captain America tries to disband the Young Avengers. Kate Bishop stands up to him. And because he stands up to him, Captain America sees Clint Barton in her. And he gives Kate Bishop Clint Barton's bow, and he's like, "You, the only other person that would talk to me like that is Clint Barton. You are Clint Barton. You are the new Hawkeye." So he actually is the one that is like, "Hey, you are Hawkeye." And he gave her the thing from Captain America. It means so much. Saving the Young Avengers. Her sister's wedding. It was referenced in the MCU. Her sister's wedding was attacked by It was attacked by like a bunch of gang people that were trying to hold those people for ransom and stuff. And the Young Avengers show up. It's when they kind of first start. They show up. They try to save the day. They actually destroy the building. And they get captured. And then Kate actually turns everything around and saves the Young Avengers. So the Young Avengers were chosen by Vision. There's only 3 of them. And to be the continuation of the Avengers in the event that the Avengers fell apart. So after Kate saves them, and Cassie, I believe, helps with that as well, Cassie Lang, who is Scott Lang's daughter, so Stature, they help save them. And so after they save them or whatever, they go to the 3 of the other Young Avengers, and just they're like, "Hey, we're awesome. You obviously want us in your team." And eventually, after some debate, they end up becoming part of the Young Avengers, which makes them the number 5, because originally that was just the 3. It was Patriot, Wiccan, and Hulkling. Cool. So her saving the Young Avengers got her in the Young Avengers, so she went into the Avengers mansion after all of that, and she's got like Mockingbird's staves, she's got Swordsman's sword, just a whole bunch of the martial art type Avengers items, and she uses all of that to actually save them. She kind of kicks some ass. Meeting Clint for real. So she, when Clint saved her, she didn't actually meet him. They were just sort of in the same room or whatever. So when she actually met Clint, Clint was given the role of Captain America. So this is when she was Captain gave her the Hawkeye thing. But when she met Clint was the new Captain America. Captain America was killed. He's shot in the back by Sharon Carter. So Captain America was killed. They were looking for a new Captain America. And this is actually funny because this deals with another Disney show, but ultimately they're trying to give the mantle of Captain America away. So he was Captain America, and he just happened to run into Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. They just out of nowhere, they ran into each other, and she tore him. It was part of Civil War II, I think. It was in one of the Civil Wars. But she runs into him. He's like on Iron Man's side, and she kind of talks to him about how no one should be able to step into that role. That's not something that could just be passed down. There really isn't a man, like a person alive, that can actually take on a role like that. And she converts Hawkeye to the other side of the Civil War, just by talking to him. That was their initial meet. So that's how they actually met, and then they were mentor-mentee ever since. Even after Kate is extremely skilled, she's never quite as skilled as Hawkeye, so Hawkeye is constantly giving her a thing. Here's my point of contention. Here's the thing that people are going to probably get at me for, and I know MSF is going to mess up. Kate is not, she's not as strong as Hawkeye. She isn't, overall, as far as superheroes go, she gets lucky, right? So when we look at my power level distinction, so multiversal means you would destroy everything, every universe, whatever. You have the power to alter everything at once, right? Universal, you can take down a single universe, maybe hop to another one, take that one down, that's fine, but it's one at a time. You can't destroy existence as everything knows it. Cosmic, planetary, nuclear, being able to destroy something like, a large city, something like that. City, you could probably take out a wall, maybe a building. And then Greg is the undead Asgardian that Hela summons, and he's sort of a minion or whatever. So realistically, with like just Kate Bishop, she's got her bow, she can have some trick arrows or whatever. She's not that strong, right? So I've got her, she's at Greg 0.5. Here's my reason. Unlike Clint Barton. So Clint Barton is city level because of his eyesight, right? She legitimately has the strength of however old of girl she is, maybe Olympic level athlete or whatever, but she has the strength of a normal person, right? So she can theoretically only take out a whole bunch of minions. She does, however, there is a point where she is the reason why Kang the Conqueror is defeated, right? She shoots out, he's got one of his devices on his arm, he's heavy tech, she shoots that out. It's 100% luck, and luck is a superpower. We know Domino exists, but you can get a couple lucky shots off. For those of you who've seen Hawkeye, she takes out a city level person. I'm not gonna say who, but that's all just kind of random happenstance, and some of it's a little bit questionable. But honestly, as far as if you look at power scale, she's not very high, right? She relies a lot on luck. She's an experienced fighter, but not to the level of most of her superheroes in a hand-to-hand combat. She's not that skilled compared to a lot of the other people in Marvel Universe, especially the ones that do martial arts. So it's really hard for me to rank her city level, because if she fights other city level people like Daredevil or Spider-Man or stuff like that, you really can't see her winning, right? So, maybe that's controversial, maybe that's it, but that's how I determine it. Greg 0.5 on the power level scale. So that's really all we got for Kate Bishop today. That's a Frosty Features Kate Bishop. Make sure you like and subscribe this video. On my Twitch channel, follow my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FrostyOsty0232. Leave a comment if you think I got something wrong, got something right, if I missed something important as far as Kate Bishop's concerned. And yeah, and if you join my Twitch channel, you sub or donate, you can pick a previous Marvel character in Marvel Strike Force for me to do a character profile on if you're interested. So thank you all for checking this out, and stay cool.